stream. Okay. All right. I'm gonna start the stream. Give me 1 sec. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us. We got a great interview with the title company in the Bay Area, California, Escrow and Title Company. We have Gloria, we have Tara, we have Laura. We got a whole team here. So everyone go ahead and introduce yourself so people know who you are.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sarah Fazy. I've been with Old Republic for over 7 years now, and I'm an escrow officer.
Hi, Laura Cuevas, escrow officer. Been with Old Republic for 13 years. Hello, Gloria Villegas, been with Old Republic for 26 years.
Beautiful. So how does somebody get into the escrow business?
Well, basically getting into the escrow business is just same as you would apply for any other job. Myself, I got into escrow because I was working for a bank, mortgage department, and I was involved in the home equity loans and ordering appraisals, and everything was great until the bank decided that they were going to relocate to another county. So then we were out of a job, and the title companies that I was dealing with the bank, and they recruited me to go and work in a title company. And from then on, starting as an assistant, and from there on, I just started to love what I was doing, and I had more goals than the other jobs. So I myself put myself into the escrow business and tried to learn as much as I could.
That's great. Is there a specific department within the escrow company where someone should start?
Probably like an escrow operations manager or sales manager.
Well, you mean start from the beginning?
Yeah, if someone starts.
As an assistant. Usually you start as
As an assistant or a receptionist.
Yeah, a receptionist or an assistant.
Okay, so someone fresh out of college, they should start out as an assistant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So.
And then
Mhm.
from there, you kind of get trained as you go, and that's how you kind of start. There's really not a school that you can go to learn escrow or title. It's just kind of starting from the bottom and working up.
Right.
And learning as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have the love for the business as escrow, then it's when you will probably get ahead of the game and get better positions, because you have to feel it to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So when someone starts at the ground level, are they going to get a mentor, or how do they learn?
Usually you will start as an assistant. So basically you'll be someone's backup to an escrow team or to a particular escrow officer. And with somebody that has a lot of knowledge, you kind of think technically kind of a mentorship, but you are getting paid. I mean, basically. But yeah, I mean, there's so many people that have knowledge in this industry, and if you fall into like a good team, you're very, very lucky and very fortunate, because they will teach you everything from wrong to right, and you're not going to learn everything overnight. This takes years to learn.
Definitely. So we know there's good characters and there's bad characters. So
yeah,
the thing we see in the news is like, oh, wire fraud and all that stuff. So what kind of fraud are the biggest issues that you're facing with these days?
Wire fraud, definitely wire fraud. One of the biggest things is that we always tell buyers is to be on the lookout for wire fraud and to call in to verify the wire details with your escrow team. Have direct communications with the escrow team before you send the money. Don't just send the money because you received the email and assume that was a wire detail.
pick up the phone, double check the phone number that you were given by your real estate agent, your loan agent, Google that number, make sure that it's a legit office, and then just follow directions. When we ask clients to call us, they should call us, and be surprised how many people don't call us to verify the wire details. And when things like that happen, unfortunately, it takes a minute or less to call the office to verify the wire information, and it takes hours upon hours to try to retrieve stolen money, with the
Yeah.
police, the bank, and whoever else is involved in trying to get lost money back.
Wow. So how can people prevent this from happening to them? Besides the phone call, anything else?
Call, bring in a cashier's check if you're able to. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Physically, obtaining maybe we've had people that actually come into our office to physically pick up the wire instructions from us personally and then go to their bank.
Which is good.
Which is good. It's not always feasible because we're dealing with people that are overseas or across the country, but just doing your due diligence as a buyer and making sure that you're talking to the correct parties that you should be. And checking, there's sometimes checking who did the email come from, like looking at your email. Did it come from Old Republic Title? It didn't come from a weird email that said, escrowofficer@ortc.gmail.com, things like that. Be on the lookout for little red flags like that as well.
And also, our emails are encrypted.
Yeah, and we
And
do send
encrypted,
all those
yeah.
information encrypted, definitely. So, we do have,
We take steps.
take steps
Yeah.
for you to receive and send that information securely.
So how do you help people who are not good with tech, who don't like encrypted emails?
Well, then we can, if they have access to a fax machine, we have high tech, we have low tech. Low tech sometimes is safer, right? Someone comes in, picks up the wire instructions. If we fax it directly to you, you give us a fax number, you don't have access to wire, but we're sending that through a secured format. Fax is still secure.
Okay.
And
So-
this also happens for the wires that we send, okay? We have to confirm wire instructions with the lenders, with the clients.
With the
yeah.
sellers,
And
everyone.
yeah, exactly. So it doesn't just mean for the buyers that are depositing money, it's for the money that is going out to their lender to pay off loans or to send to an exchange company, to send to their bank. So we have to do that every single time that we send a wire up.
Right, because on one transaction, there could be like 10 wires, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a lot of wire activity. So
Mhm.
people should lean on low tech, and they should take extra steps to verify to protect themselves.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So I know the people hear insurance, and there's so many different kinds of insurance. So specifically, what does title insurance guarantee someone who buys it?
Well,
Well, the title insurance ensures that they're
We have
buying
two
a
kinds.
that they're buying the property, that they and the owners of the property are the property owners, and also that there is no cloud on the title. And so they're basically knowing that the title company will back them up with insurance in the event that there is an item that is missed or is not in the public records recorded there. Mhm.
So what is the second policy called, the lender's policy? What is that?
That covers the lender. So we have a homeowner's policy, which would cover the buyer. And then if a buyer is obtaining a loan, then the lender requires that same type of policy, and it's called a lender's policy. And the buyer pays for that when there's a loan involved.
Okay,
And they're covered for the same possible risks as well.
yes.
that's great. So kind of transitioning to an investor question that we got. So when someone's in an exchange, can the rents and security deposits be deducted from the seller's money at closing?
For a better answer, that would be something that you may want to discuss with the exchange officer, because there's a little bit more nuances that are involved with an exchange about what can and cannot be included in the closing costs through escrow. And that's something that an exchange officer would be able to tell you
Okay,
if it would be, you know, how it should be handled, right? Because we don't know all those things. When there's an exchange involved, there's another part of that transaction that we, you know, we're not knowledgeable enough to give that kind of advice.
Yeah.
That's not the area of our expertise. We only
Got
handle escrow, yeah.
so
But
what if somebody's cashing out then, not exchanging?
If it's just a regular transaction and there's no exchange involved, then yeah, we could handle the rents and prorations through escrow if they wanted to.
Okay,
However, I have seen in a couple of exchanges that it is more feasible for the seller to bring in the cash for the deposits and the rents, deposit it into the escrow, and then issue a check to the buyer. And noted on the statement that it is funds deposited for that purpose. And the exchange companies that we have dealt with have been okay with that, and they have agreed that it was okay. But that's this company. I don't know about the other companies.
right, so people should definitely do their own research before
Exactly. Mhm.
getting some surprise tax bill, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Mhm.
definitely before even possibly getting into an escrow, it'd probably be very wise for any prospective seller to consult with an exchange officer in conjunction with the sale transaction, so they know exactly what items they can include as part of their closing costs.
Exactly.
Yep.
Mhm. Because once a statement is signed by them, they're agreeing on everything that is there. And so sometimes maybe the exchange company might not notice it, or they might not notice it. And then it's a done deal. Mhm.
So how do you work with the 1031? How do you coordinate with them? How do you explain that to people?
So once we get into contract, the exchange company will reach out to us, or we will reach out to them, and they will ask for a preliminary title report and a copy of the contract. And then moving forward, they'll review everything, and then they will send us their instructions and also a copy of the documents that the seller or buyer will be signing. And we will include those in the signing package. Nowadays, we're seeing more so it's e-signing too. So a lot of the exchange companies that we work with send the docs up front for DocuSign.
And we don't select the exchange company, the seller selects the exchange company that we work with.
Right,
Or if a buyer is buying a home and they're using their exchange funds from the exchange company that they're working with. We have that too.
okay, that's awesome. If you can explain, because there's so many nuances with the words in the industry. So when somebody says, how do you record and fund on the same day? 'Cause you just hear the word, oh, we're closed, and then they say, okay, we're done. But how does it work?
Well, it's a combination of working together with the lender and the person that is the buyer and the seller, because it's kind of like a rush transaction. So they have to sign, and then we have to get the documents to the lender for review. And if the lender is willing to stop what they're doing and review the file and send us a wire the same day as the signing, then we can record same day.
And we're restricted by time, so
Yeah.
sometimes we only have about 3 to 4 hours to make this happen.
Mhm.
So not only are we going through obstacles, the buyer, if there's a loan involved, they have to be able to come into our office and sign. And because if they're out of the area, it's definitely not gonna happen.
Mhm.
We do have the capability of recording documents electronically, but it has to all be able to be done within a certain time frame. So if people aren't able to take the time off work, or they can't send their money, or other things that would prohibit us from recording, then we would not be able to fund, sign, and record the same day.
And most importantly, we need to have the buyer's funds in escrow.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we don't have that, then we may not reach the deadline. That's the number one thing, to make sure they have already wired or brought in their funds to close if they are relying on us to be able to fund and record the same day.
We basically do the best we
Yeah.
can on every single transaction, but there is some times that we cannot, just cannot produce that magic.
Have we made miracles happen? Yes, we have.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
And it's teamwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
definitely
Everybody
teamwork.
knows the job they need to do in order for this to happen. The lender, the escrow officer, the escrow assistant,
Mhm,
everybody knows what they have to do.
exactly. Mhm.
So let's say someone wants to close on October 10th, 10/10. So when do they need everyone signed up? When do they need funds in? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that CD 3-day waiting period either.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's for the buyer. Mhm.
So if someone wants to close on October 10th, when do they need all their ducks lined up?
Probably like start working on getting that CD released by October 5th. Because there's
Yeah.
different variables that are
Yeah.
involved. Every lender has different protocols, you know, they can get the CD out. Some of them get the CD out in advance and then they start like balancing with the escrow team to make sure we have the final numbers. Maybe the 3-day rule has already passed, right? Sometimes, you know, sometimes we have lenders that still want paper docs. So we have to ship the documents perhaps like out of state.
Yeah.
And then just depending on when the buyer signed, so if the buyer signed at 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night, then we're not able to ship those original documents to the lender until the next business day. So it's just a matter of communication,
Yeah.
logistics, a lot of things that you know go into trying to determine that actual recording date.
Happens. And if it's communicated prior, we have a better idea and it gives us time to put a plan together and be able to execute that. So if you, let's say we have an all cash deal, you know, wants to close in 3 days. Let's just say we have to review the title report, make sure, there's no liens or anything that's a red flag, and be able to get the funds in time, buyer and seller sign. It's a little bit easier to be able to do that. But if there's a lender involved, it's better to communicate and to let us know when the buyers want to close, not last minute, because if it's last minute, then it may not give us enough time to be able to put everything together. So communication is key.
Right.
Also, the seller should be able to sign anytime that they want to sign. I mean, if we're gonna close on the 10th, they can sign on the 9th, the 8th, because there is basically nothing that will stop them from having to sign before the buyer signs.
So as we're leaning into calendar, right now, people that are getting in a contract, they're looking forward and they're seeing Thanksgiving break, like how
Yeah.
do people plan around Thanksgiving bank closures and all that stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
What should people add 2 weeks to their escrow period, or what should they do?
No,
Well, it depends if they want to be in the house like by Thanksgiving, which usually that's what the problem.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. And in the middle of the escrow, we have a 30, Thanksgiving is in between the 30-day escrow, but then the buyers decided they want to close early. So then that needs to be communicated to us because we need to make sure that seller has signed or
Yeah.
is able to sign. Because if our seller, say for example, what if the seller wanted to spend Thanksgiving out in Spain
Yeah,
and he's already gone? So then we also need to make adjustments to have that seller sign, because if he's gone out of the country, we have to have him sign with the notary in Spain, and that can take
And
a
that's
week or
happened.
so, and that happens.
Yeah, that happens.
So, again, communication, let everybody know, if there's a possibility that the buyer may want to close early, let everybody know. So we
Yeah.
can start working on getting the seller signed off and making sure that the lender can close early, because sometimes the expectations of what escrow can do and the lender can
Yeah,
do
exactly.
sometimes are not aligned.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's why if, let's say, a buyer and seller, they want to close earlier, the agents email us and say, oh, we're closing 7 days sooner. They have to make sure they've already communicated that with the lender, because they have their own protocols and process and underwriting and stuff they have to be able to, approve.
Right.
It's not just us either.
And sometimes the offices close early because of the holidays.
Yeah,
And so,
and some recording, our counties are closed to holidays. So we have to make sure that we're aware of that too, like Martin Luther King or President's Day, or what's this one coming up on Monday? Columbus Day.
No more.
You know?
Columbus, no more.
So yeah,
So it's very easy to say we want to close before Thanksgiving, but when you have to do all of what we just said, it's kind of difficult for us, but we still do it.
We still do it.
We still stay here and do signups and do everything that we can to accommodate the client.
This has been great. So let's go around. Everyone can give one final tip for the audience.
Oh, okay.
I don't know yet.
Well, I probably will have to copy this coworkers, because I would say communication is the best, the idea that I can give clients, buyers, sellers, realtors, exchange companies, anybody that is in the transaction.
Perfect.
I'd like to say that buyer and seller should set realistic expectations. As much as everyone involved in the transaction wants to close it on the contractual
Yeah.
closing date, there's a lot of things that happen that we have no control over. So if someone has the moving van ready
Oh, yeah, that's really
on the
common.
close of escrow, I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of times we're in situations where the buyer has the moving van ready in front of the house, ready to unload, and stuff happens, lender gets delayed. And I think the best thing would be for people to have realistic expectations of closing their escrow on time and planning for when they're able to actually move into the home, because unfortunately we do have a lot of broken hearts sometimes, and people are upset, but I think just being realistic in what the expectations for closing are. That's the biggest tip that I've learned
yeah.
throughout my career.
Otherwise, the moving van will go back to their home without unloading the furniture.
Back to the hotel. One more
Back
night.
to the hotel.
Back to the hotel.
Back to the hotel for the next couple of days. And then we feel so guilty because we couldn't help them, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, sometimes there's things that are just out of our control. As
Yeah.
hard as we try,
We try.
that there's things that just we can't control.
Definitely.
And please let us know if the buyer, the seller's leaving the country.
That would be good. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Or if they're married and they need the wife to sign a
And,
spousal.
yeah, if their wife's out of the
quickly,
country,
or if she's out of the
that
country.
plays a big role.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you have sellers that have special circumstances,
Yeah.
they're divorcing.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not, special situations. Those are things that we should know in advance, so we know how to approach
Exactly.
people.
Exactly.
You don't want to put our foot in our mouth
I know.
when calling people. Yeah,
Right.
discussing transaction.
We can talk for hours.
Well, I know we can't teach it all. We can't
tell
teach it
ya.
all in a short session. Can't
We have
teach
a
it
lot
all.
of information to share.
Yeah, we can definitely schedule another call
Sure.
now that we got the tech working perfectly.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful.
We're professionals now.
We actually have what the homeowners policy covers, so right now here, and we can discuss it next time. if you
Yeah,
like.
next time we can have a
Because,
longer
yeah,
Zoom meeting.
Yeah,
for sure.
It actually is very nice.
It's very
I really
nice.
enjoyed it, and I am
Yeah.
so grateful that my two coworkers, Laura and Sarah, joined us because they have so much good information.
Absolutely. I think the audience will definitely get educated and also, be mindful how to communicate, what kind of timelines to expect. Someone's asking, what's your phone number? Who wants to give out the number?
You could.
What's your phone number? Who wants to give out the number?
We can do it's 408
Okay,
296
okay,
4500.
perfect.
And we are very good about answering the phone, okay?
And
We are very good.
yes, we are.
I want to thank you again. Thank you, ladies, for coming on. It's been great. You have a wealth of knowledge I'm so glad you wanted to add value to the real estate community. To take time out of your busy days, out of your, in between your closings. And thank you so much. Let's do it again.
Thank
Okay,
you.
We
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed
Appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you for looking up to us, okay?
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.